This story happened about 2 years ago. I was an 18-year-old high school senior at the time. Like most high school girls, I was really into the Instagram app. I would post a few times a month, and I would get a pretty decent number of likes when I did. And just like many girls, I would occasionally get an old, creepy man commenting on my photos, or sending me direct messages, which I would always delete. But in the early fall of 2018, I posted a photo of myself with my friend at school. A man commented on the photo with something like, "You're so beautiful," and some heart emojis. I didn't know who he was, and when I clicked on his profile, he had 0 followers and appeared to be at least 50 years old. So I deleted the comment. Then I got a direct message from him. It said, "Hey, I would love to meet you. Would you be interested?" As soon as I read the message, I deleted it and blocked the account. That in itself was not all that uncommon. I had gotten messages like that before. But about a week later, I received another direct message from another man, with 0 followers. It turned out to be the same man from before, but with a different account. His message said, "Why did you block me?" Then he sent another one saying, "I know where you live, and if you don't want to meet me, I can come and see you myself." Then he sent my actual address. Now, I knew this was more than the typical creepy guy, and I was genuinely concerned. I waited for my dad to get home from work that day, so I can show it to him. But once he got home, I logged in to see that the account had been deleted. Over the next few days, I tried my best to forget all about it. But I couldn't help but feel concerned, knowing that some old creep knew my address. Eventually, I thought about it less and less. About a week went by, and I'd just about forgotten all about it, when one morning, I woke up and noticed something on my floor. It was a stack of photos lying at the base of my window. And the window was open about an inch. I walked over and picked them up. There was about 10 photos. They were all pictures of me, taken from my window. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Each photo was much like the others. I ran downstairs and showed them to my parents. We called the police and reported everything. But nothing ever really came of it. It's been 2 years now and nothing else happened. I don't know if it was a sick joke, or something much worse. And I may never know. For some background on this story, I am a 21-year-old female college student. I have an Instagram account and have been using it since high school. A little while back, when I opened my Instagram app one day, I saw a little follower notification on the lower right corner. I clicked on it and saw that I had a follow request from a girl named Amanda that I had a photography class with the previous semester. I accepted her request, and then I followed her back. I didn't know her all that well, but we had talked a few times, and she seemed pretty nice. I briefly looked at her photos. She didn't have all that many, maybe just 5 or 6. Later in the day, I received a message from her though. It said hi and asked me how school was going. We talked briefly, back and forth, just about general things like school and work. Then she told me that she had a project where she needed to shoot a video and asked me if she could borrow my camera. I didn't really mind, and I told her she could. She asked for my address, and I gave it to her. But then the next day she messaged me, saying that she didn't need the camera anymore, but thanks anyways. A couple of nights later, I was in bed at about midnight, about to go to sleep, when I thought I heard something from outside. I lived in a little college house with 2 other girls, but I had my own room. It sounded like the bush outside my window being moved. I walked over to it and looked outside. Just when I looked, I saw what appeared to be a man running away. All I could see was that he was wearing jeans and a red shirt. I didn't know who he was or what he was doing. I covered my window and told the other girls in the house about it. We were all pretty freaked out, and I wasn't able to fall asleep for another hour or so. Then about a week later, I was walking to class when I happened to see Amanda. I walked over to her and said hi. Then I asked her how our project was going. She looked at me confused and said, "What project?" When I mentioned about how she needed a camera, she denied it and said she didn't know what I was talking about. I took out my phone to show her our message. I took out my phone to show her our conversation. But all the messages from her were gone, and her account had been deleted. Then Amanda took out her phone and showed me her Instagram profile. It was way different from what I had seen, and she wasn't even following me. We then came to the realization that somebody must have created a fake account of her. But at this point, the account was gone, so we couldn't do anything. The whole thing was pretty creepy. The very next night, I was doing homework late at night, and once again, I heard the bush moving outside my window. Before I could get up, I heard a knock on my window. I knew this time the possibility of it likely being that man again, and I froze with fear. I happened to be home alone at the time, and that made it all worse. I looked to the window and almost had a heart attack when I realized that I had left it open a crack. I saw a hand reach underneath and begin to raise it. Slowly, I quickly grabbed my phone and ran out of the room and into the bathroom. I locked the door and got on the phone with the police. I told them what was going on. They said they would have somebody at my house within 5 minutes. I heard the man inside my room walking around. He spent about a minute or two in there. I was sitting in the back corner of the bathroom, literally holding my breath. I didn't know who this man was, or how dangerous he could be. He slowly made his way out of the bedroom and into the hallway. I heard him go into my roommate's room. Then he came out and reached the bathroom that I was in. I could hear my heartbeat pounding. He tried the doorknob. When it didn't open, he waited about 10 seconds and then spoke. I heard him say, "Come out. I just want to talk." He sounded calm and seemed to be a fairly young man. I didn't respond, and I stayed where I was. "Please," he said. "I'm not going to hurt you." Then he chuckled a little bit. In a way, they gave me the creeps. Just then, I could barely hear sirens off in the distance. I was really hoping they were for me. As each second passed, they grew louder and louder. That is exactly what I wanted to hear. As they started to reach the house, the man said, in a calm voice, "Now why did you have to do a thing like that to me?" And then I heard his footsteps walk away. I remained in the bathroom. I heard the front door open, and about 30 seconds later, heard voices yelling from outside. Finally, I heard police inside the house, and I made my way out of the bathroom. I met the police, who said they caught the man and that I was safe. It turns out he was a fellow student in my university, who also was in the photography class I had taken last semester. He created the fake account to stalk me and get my address. His plan had almost worked, but I'm grateful things ended up being okay. I'm sure all of you guys know what the Instagram app is and how it works. I will start by saying that I consider myself to be a decently attractive girl, but not one of the super popular girls, getting 500 likes on every picture they post. I would occasionally get new followers, but it wasn't an everyday thing. But what happened last year was the strangest thing ever. It started when I went on Instagram one day and saw that I had 36 follow requests. This was insane for me, because the most I had ever had in a day before was maybe 5 or 6. I looked and saw that they all appeared to be older men. And not just a few years older than me, but they seemed to be much older, like in their 40s and 50s. I looked through them all and deleted every single one of them. I was very confused as to what had happened. Then the next morning, when I woke up, I went to Instagram to see that I had 57 follow requests. This time, and once again they were all old men. Over the next few days, every single time I would go on Instagram, I would get dozens of new follow requests from old men. Eventually, it started to happen to my other social media as well. My Facebook account started to get many friend requests every single day. I didn't know what else to do, so I decided to delete all of my social media accounts. I created new accounts again a few months later. Since then, they've been fine and nothing else has happened. It was just the strangest thing, and I still have no explanation for it. This happened last year. I am a 19-year-old guy. I was on Instagram last October and noticed that I had a new follower. I looked to see who it was and saw that it was a pretty attractive-looking girl that seemed to be around my age. I clicked on her profile and saw that most of her pictures got to 100 to 300 likes, and she seemed to be pretty cool. I followed her back, and the next day she sent me a direct message. She said, "Hey," and I responded, seeing what's up. We started talking and seemed to have a lot of common interests. The conversations went great, and I asked her for a Snapchat, but she told me that she didn't use any other social media besides Instagram. We decided that we wanted to meet up after about a week of chatting on Instagram and decided on the next Thursday night. She said she worked downtown and told me to go to a certain street at about 10 after she got off of work and we could hang out. I was a little nervous to meet her because she seemed so cool, and I drove to the location a little bit early. I texted her saying I had arrived, and she told me that she was in her car, and then it was black and it was parked a little ways out from me. I looked up and saw the car. She said I should come over and get in the car with her, and she'd drive us to her favorite late-night restaurant. I got out of my car and approached hers. My car, as I got closer, I noticed that all the windows were tinted pretty darn, and heard it start to move. I sprinted to my car and got in and started it. Then I quickly drove away, instincts, and I reluctantly walked slower towards the car. I started driving home, and then decided to just start taking random turns in an effort to lose the tail. Split second, the person in the driver, sitting at just about every option, but the car kept following me. We did this for about 30 minutes before finally, the car decided to stop following me. Then I drove back home, but took the longest way possible. When I got home, the account and all the messages were surprisingly still there. I reported everything to the police. As it turns out, the girl was real and had nothing to do with what happened, but her account had just been hacked. The day may not have worked out for me, but I feel very happy that I'm all right.